So all this seems pretty simple. Why is it then that people fail to make these positive choices? I want to set these traps out in front of you, because as you walk out of here at this conference center, the traps are laying all over the floor. Number one is this. At the time you're making the choice, the results are invisible. It doesn't look like anything's happening at all. Now, I could change this entirely now in a nanosecond. If I had the power to collapse the space-time continuum to your choice right now, 20 years stretched out, what that choice compounded looks like, if I could collapse it and show you the reality of that, I promise you, you change your choice. For instance, let's say at lunch, you did pick the hamburger and fries, and upon the first bite, your gut explodes, your heart erupts in your chest, and you fall to the ground in a heart attack. Or the next morning you wake up like this. Hey, how do you get like that? One hamburger at a time. That's it. Or let's just say that you're out with your girlfriends, they're drinking, they say, hey, just have a cigarette. You try it, you breathe it in. At the end of the cigarette, you're like, wow, what's weird is I actually feel better than I felt before the cigarette, right? All this positive affirmation. Let me take the space-time continuum and collapse it and have his future self talk to his current self. What would he say? Put the cigarette down. But for all those years, it didn't look like anything was happening. You don't make a couple of phone calls. You said you were going to tell your accountability partner you're going to make 7 calls a day to new prime prospects. But today you got a headache, you got to pick up the kids, you got laundry, you got this, committee meeting that you got to go to. Just today I'll make up for it tomorrow. And Donald Trump is called and you're fired. Or let's just say Dave Liniger calls and says you're fired, you can't work here any longer, and your house goes up on foreclosure. Because that single choice, whether you know it or not, compounded over time, it's exactly what happens. Or in the heat of a battle. You're like, I know we said we never go to bed angry, but we'll talk about it tomorrow, I just won't have it anymore. And the next morning, you wake up to divorce papers. And you have to look your little girl in the eye and explain why you couldn't make a different choice. Here's the answer to this. Understand that every choice you make ignites the compound effect, either in the positive or the negative. One little choice ignites a tsunami 10, 20 years down the road, either positive or negative, every one of them. But you do have to know, there is no cheat day, there is no binge and make up for it on Monday reality when it comes to compound effect. Everything has a consequence. So the answer to this is, when you start making positive choices and the results are invisible and you're getting no reward for your positive choice, you just have to have patience. Trap number 2. The new trajectory that you put your life on, it's subtle and deceptive. And you don't realize where it is that you're heading until you get there. For instance, let's say that a plane is on the tarmac at LAX and its nose is pointed directly at LaGuardia to its destination. And let's say that while it's on the tarmac, the nose is off by only 1 degree, which is from here to here. Did you see that? From here to here. In other words, not much. By the time it gets across the country, that 1 degree will have taken it off course 150 miles, 2 states away. So this is what happens in most people's lives. 10, 20 years come down the line, and then they end up going, what happened? How did I get so fat? How did I end up bankrupt? How did I end up divorced? Look, the reality is you might not have done anything colossal to make a mistake. You might have only been 1 degree off, and that 1 degree traveled over 10, 15, 20 years, and now you're 150 miles off your intended destination. That's how it happens. So just like a plane needs a gyroscope in the nose to guide it along its path, you need a gyroscope for your life. And one of the things you'll get with the resource is on a single page how you can gyroscope and guide your life step by step, day, week, month, but you're smart enough to adjust. If you look at the path, the interesting thing about this is that you are off track more than you're on track, but you can still end up in the exact chair in front of the exact fire with that cup of hot cocoa if you constantly get yourself back on track. This is the reason why having a guiding system all along the way is crucial. Here's the third, immediate gratification. We want what we want, when we want it, and we want it right now. So let's say that at the end of a fine meal, you're presented with two options. One is a slice of warm, homemade chocolate cake or a glass of water. What do you get if you pick the chocolate cake? Yeah, you get joy in your mouth. I mean, you get chocolate cake. I mean, you get ecstasy. You get incredible pleasure. Now, what do you get if you choose the glass of water? Nothing. And you got to sit there and watch your friend just have ecstasy with her chocolate cake. This is the biggest problem for you about making positive choices. If you make a good choice, you get nothing. You make a poor choice, you get pleasured. This right here is the crux of the issue. And we come by this need to pleasure ourselves very early in life. We walk through a minefield of opportunities to pleasure ourselves all day, every day. And your ability to abstain and say no, the greatest barrier to your success is your ability to withstand immediate gratification. And so the way that, this is the great paradox that you're faced with. What gives you short-term pleasure, the chocolate cake, standing around in an argument, going home instead of making calls, creates long-term pain. And what gives you short-term pain, going to that meeting you don't want to go to, picking up the phone, going and working out even though you don't feel like it, creates long-term pleasure. The way that my mentor, Jim Rohn, put it is this. In life, you will suffer one of two pains. Now, there's already great wisdom in this sentence right here. Here's the great wisdom. In life, you will suffer. Like, get over the idea you're going to avoid that deal. You will suffer. This is life. Now, you get to choose your suffering. Here's your choice. You get to choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And as he says, the pain of discipline weighs ounces. Going to the gym, saying you're sorry, picking up the phone, going to the meeting. However, the pain of regret, divorce, bankruptcy, estranged relationships to the people in your family, that weighs tons. The last is what's easy to do. All this is easy, I'm telling you, to be successful. The actual core activity, the behavior, it's all easy. What's easy to do, however, is also easy not to do. You see, it's easy to eat an apple a day for your good health. It's easy to walk around the block. It's easy to say you're sorry, to make a moment of magic. It's easy to pick up the phone, for crying out loud, and make phone calls or write thank you letters or drink 8 glasses of water. All this is easy, but it's also easy not to do. It's so easy, it's neglected, it's discounted. And we go searching for fanciful, complicated, mysterious answers instead, when in actuality it was always very simple if we'll just do what's easy. So I have an important question for this intelligent audience. What do successful people and unsuccessful people have in common? Here's what it is. They both hate to do what it takes to be successful. Successful people just do it anyway. Right? See, at 5 o'clock in the morning when my alarm goes off and I got a warm embrace with my beautiful bride, do I want to leave that warm embrace to put on running shoes to go pound pavement out in the middle of the dark in order to go for a run? I do not. At the end of a long, hard day, when I'm exhausted and all I want to do is go home and relax, do I want to go into a gym and push a bunch of lead weight around with a bunch of hairy gorilla-like dudes? I do not. In the heat of a battle, when I know this time I know that I'm right, do I want to turn around and say, honey, you're right, I'm sorry? Oh, no, I do not. But why do I do these things? Because that's what it takes to be successful. See, I think it's very liberating for unsuccessful people to realize that successful people hate this stuff too. I walked in the gym the other day, and I check in, and he goes, have fun. He turned around and said, what? Have fun? I don't come here for fun. I hate this place. I've hated every day I've ever walked into this place. I come here for discipline, not fun. Muhammad Ali had a famous quote where he said, I've hated every early morning workout I've ever had in my entire career, but I loved being world champion. And that's what it takes. Successful people are just willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not.